Princess Kilala isn't your average princess with a beautiful dress, perfect makeup, and a handsome Prince Charming. No, Kilala is a warrior who fought in her kingdom's highly trained ninja clan called the Iris. She is tough, has thick skin, and shows no signs of weakness. That is until she's alone. At night, when she was in her chambers, she wept. She wanted her beloved kingdom of Asarian to be free of the pain and misery it constantly absorbed by outworld clans that would try to take over. Her father, the king and leader of the Iris clan, who was a well-respected man for his successful ways to keep Asarian safe, was very strict with her training, making sure she was the sneakiest, quickest, most silent assassin there was, so that she could take over the leadership when his time was up. Kilala is very stern. She doesn't take things lightly and is always on high alert. When she has a dedicated mission, she'd get it done and nothing could stop her. But she does have a softer side, a side that only comes out when she's around her mother. Kilala's mother, the queen, is part fairy, part human, but inherited the fairy side of her family. Therefore, Kilala inherited the same magic abilities. Her mother is very beautiful, with her long wavy blonde hair that was braided in a long braid down her back. Her eyes were as green as the fresh summer grass that sit in level with her pointed ears. Kilala looked very much like her mother, with her hair in low pigtails to keep out of her face. On Kilala's downtime, she and her mother would go out and practice magic in her mother's magical garden behind the castle's back courtyard. There, her mother would teach her how to control her abilities. Kilala and her mother are both emotional fairies, meaning their magic strength varies on their emotions. Therefore, they have to learn to control their powers when they are in a serious emotional state, to not do anything that they will regret. This has led to Kilala's mother being a very peaceful and gentle person. Kilala has struggled for many years to control her powers, especially during war. Thankfully, the victims were always the Outworlders. Kilala's mother has been teaching her how to cast spells and make potions, which has interested Kilala very much. She knows that her powers could be an advantage during war, and she's fully committed to mastering them all. Kilala's wings are a transparent white, with transparent patterns of pink. Because of that, her uniform is pink, with black shorts and a black headband with the Erigorn symbol. One day, Kilala set out to take her weekly walk around the kingdom with her father, going along and greeting all the villagers as they do their daily tasks. They all stop and bow as the princess and king pass, then go back to their routines. Things have been great here in Asarian, no signs of any outside forces in months. Kilala sleeps better at night nowadays, and her moods have been lifted. She smiles more, knowing her people are safe and her kingdom stands strong. It was a beautiful sunny autumn day, neither too hot nor cold, with a slight breeze blowing the brown and green leaves off the trees and painted an amazing autumn portrait. Kilala and her father meet up with her mother, who is in her magical garden, and they all go back inside to get ready for dinner. Kilala loves her parents very much. She knows they try their best for this kingdom, and she admires that, and would do anything for them. At dinner, they all sit together and discuss their day, which she and her father didn't like very much, but their mother pursued it to help better family communication and to let emotions out and to keep stress levels down. The muffled sounds of voices screaming and walls being shook could be heard in the dining room. Kilala's mother and father both arise from their seat and head down the hall, to the main entrance of the castle. Confused and shocked, Kilala is frozen in her chair, unable to move, with millions of thoughts running through her head. Does she dare to look outside? Of course! Her kingdom's safety means the world to her. She gets up and looks through one of the stained glass windows of the dining room and sees chaos, fire, people running, and outworlders. Panicked, Kilala throws off her royal gown to reveal that she always had her Iris uniform on, in case of an emergency, like her father asked her to. She runs through the dining room hall to the main entrance of the castle and pushes through the castle doors to uncover a horrible scene she thought she would never see in her kingdom. The sky grew a darker shade of brownish orange haze, and the wind picked up. The smell of burning houses was heavy, smoke, fire, and blowing leaves covering mostly everywhere, and you couldn't even hear your own mind with the hundreds of voices screaming. Kilala turned in circles, trying to grasp the situation at hand, processing that this was really happening. Where were her parents? What does she do? Finally, Kilala's rage kicks in, and her first thought was to get all the villagers into the underground hiding put in place in an invasion. She runs to every house that she could get to that wasn't completely engulfed with flames, and got every person out while fighting off enemies. She had to be quick, yelling out to her people to get them into safety, so that she can go find her parents. Going back and forth on the underground hiding to the side of her collapsing kingdom, dodging her struggling warriors who fought off the Outworlders, Kilala held in her tears and traded them for her wrath. The Outworlders had been planning, waiting, watching, breaking down all their defenses without a trace. There was hardly anything she could do. Her warriors were fighting while awaiting instructions when she didn't have any clue herself. She ran as fast as she could, so she didn't have to lose anyone. Smoke residue was all over her face and body. She was sweating and panting, but she didn't give up. After she finished the last house, she went looking for her parents. She hasn't seen them at all since they ran outside. Kilala ran back inside, coughing, and was losing her breath, in hopes her parents went back in to obtain more defenses. No luck. She checked the back courtyard and looked into her mother's garden, which was slowly burning away. Someone came up behind her, shoved her forward, yelling, "Run!" Her mother's voice has never sounded so scared, which frightened her. Her mother started to fly, and Kilala eventually caught on. They were miles away from their kingdom, but could still see the flames and smoke rising from it. "Kilala, listen to me." Her mother's voice was strong and cracking. Her hair was falling out of her braid. She also had smoke and residue on her face, with some spots of blood. "When you come back, you need to restore Asarian. You will find the power you need there. Don't be afraid." She spoke very quickly, because there was no time to waste. "What do you mean? Mother, what is going to happen to you?" Kilala couldn't fight back the tears anymore. They ran down her face as she spoke. "I love you so much," her mother said as she forcefully pushed Kilala into a cold pool of light blue water. Kilala awoke in a quiet, colorful forest. The trees were shades of lavender, magenta, and green. The grass was soft and a beautiful color of dark green. Butterflies were floating past her and landing on fully bloomed flowers. The air was so fresh it felt incredible to breathe in. Where was she? She stood up and realized the smoke residue had disappeared off her body. She started to explore the enchanted forest to eventually come across the wonderful people who would accept her and help her find the powers she needed to restore her kingdom.